Good morning and welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go for you. Up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. We're happy to be here with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, and of course on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call all around the world. And of course, here with you this morning inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios, as I said, Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and make sure you head off to Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. There is nothing like Great Lakes Honda City when it comes to finding your car, buying, leasing, and just wanting to have that right fit for you, for your family, for a loved one. There's only one place that I have trusted for, at this point, I want to say it's at least 11 years, and that is Great Lakes Honda City. So make sure the former Honda City of Liverpool, as some of you may know it as that name, Great Lakes Honda City, is the only place that I've gone for my vehicles for over a decade. It's the place I trust, and it's the place I would tell you to go to. So make sure you head over to Great Lakes Honda City today. Let them know that DT sent you, and you can get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' list of topics and guests for the day. We're going to start the broadcast off with a very special wake-up call presentation, and that is going to be featuring LeQuint Allen Jr. LeQuint Allen Jr., the back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher in Syracuse history. It took forever to see a Syracuse Orange 1,000-yard rusher. After Jerome Smith did it, it had been a minute, and then Sean Tucker was able to get to 1,000 yards behind a wonderful offensive line at Syracuse. And then LeQuint Allen Jr. behind Sean Tucker did it not once, but twice. And the second time he did it, he had the exact number of my birthday, 1021, 1,021 yards. And so LeQuint Allen Jr. is going to be joining the show. It's the first time that I've spoken with him since he's been in the NFL and since he's been a Jacksonville Jaguar. So very excited to not only have a conversation with a former Syracuse player, but a current Jacksonville Jaguar. So that's coming up in just a moment. And then in hour number 2 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, as we always do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, bringing you our Bearcat time. And inside of the Bearcat Breakroom this morning, I will have Lizzy Tirado, who will be joining us from the Binghamton swimming and diving team, a diver on the team inside of this 2025 season. And she'll be here to tell her story. And then we'll round out the show as we always do on a Tuesday with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. Today's topic, conversations with differing views. How to have them. So all of that's coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Our special with LeQuint Allen Jr. comes to you right after this. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing. And you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. We are up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Of course, in our coverage of the NFL as an accredited member of the National Football League of over a decade. Happy to bring you a bunch of different teams, coast to coast and north to south, and of course the Jacksonville Jaguars throughout the years, as well as my hometown of Syracuse, New York. Well, this gentleman that's picture-in-picture is representing both Mr. LeQuint Allen Jr. LeQuint, how are we doing?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. That smile never changes, man. Do you ever stop smiling?
Nah, only when I play football. That's it. Only when I play football.
One of the stories that I talk about the most with you is when we bumped into each other at Taste of Syracuse. And there's a bunch of people. I was with my dad, and I shook your hand. You're like, my guy, and you gave me a hug. And my dad's like, who's that? I said, that's your top running back right there. So, do you miss Syracuse? You miss being around the people?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely miss Syracuse, the family and things like that, and the community. How couldn't I? But, just got to stay on the grind and, always get back to them, always be there for the community. And that's what I'm going to do.
When you got drafted, and I appreciate that, and I respect that, and I know you're a stand-up guy, getting drafted in 2025, round 7, pick 236, in my opinion, that was a steal of a steal of a steal to get you in round 7. When you're a 7th-round pick, people around the country might say, oh, these guys are going to make the team, they're going to be journeymen, they're going to be practice squad guys. But a guy like yourself that's done so many things in college, I knew the value you brought to an NFL team. When you saw round 7, pick 236, what was your reaction?
My reaction was, number one, thank you to God, gave me an opportunity. And number two, once I touched down, it's time to grind, it's time to work. I didn't really label myself as a 236 pick or a round 7 pick. I'm a football player, and whatever, role the team needs me to do, that's what I'm going to do at the highest level.
Yeah, and when you see that, there's something that I paid attention to when you were up at Syracuse, and that was your willingness to not only be a guy in the backfield at running back, but that you were willing to go on special teams, willing to do punt returns, kick returns. And I kept thinking to myself, he's really smart to know that if he shows his value in multiple spots, he'll find his way on an NFL roster. And people started talking about your abilities, your versatility, and all these things that you can do that was going off of that. So when you reflect on Syracuse, how grateful are you that you had that mentality and that opportunity to say, listen, I'll do punt return, kick return, wherever you need me?
Yeah, I think, it started back in Syracuse when we had Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker was the starter, and, I had to play special teams, and I was willing to at the highest level, kickoff, kick return, whatever, punt return, whatever the coach needed me to do. And it just goes back to that year, whatever coach needs me to do, whether it's special teams or playing running back, that's what I'm going to do. And, do it at the highest level and, make some plays for sure.
Did the Jaguars give you any thoughts on that, hey, we drafted you, we brought you in because we saw that you've been good in so many different areas. We've seen that you can make good decisions in the return game, that your hands have been good, that you take care of the ball, not just in how you return the ball, but in the fact that you field it well. Did they speak with you about seeing you on special teams and that being something that stuck out to them?
Yeah, I would say in the aspect as, just building trust every day and just knowing, showing them that I know what I'm doing, and that they can trust me. And I think that's the biggest thing is building that trust and, being that guy that they're looking for in those, aspects of the game.
It had been a very long time since Syracuse had a 1,000-yard back, and they got it with Sean Tucker. Then they got it with you in back-to-back seasons. In 2023, 1,064 on 245 carries, and then 1,021 in 2024 on 228 carries. 16 touchdowns in your last season at Syracuse, and 9 the year before that. And I don't know if you know this, I might have told you this, but you getting 1021 made perfect sense to me because of our relationship, and 1021 is actually my birthday. So,
Yeah.
so bring me into being a back-to-back 1,000-yard back in college at a school that had not seen a 1,000-yard back before you and Sean Tucker. It was Jerome Smith, and it had been a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I think just want to change the program around. Just knowing that the community, how big the community is on the Syracuse Orange. That Block S. You just want to how it was going. You wanted to come in and change it and keep it going. And I feel like that's where it's going now. Friends doing a hell of a job over there, keeping those boys straight. And that's a big family over there, and they work together. And they win together for sure.
And you came in under Dino Babers, but you got to spend time under Fran Brown in his first season. What were your takeaways that you took from going from Dino to Fran, and how did that prepare you for the NFL to go through those two coaches?
I feel as though they're both hell of a coaches, and I learned things from both of them. Just different styles. Different people. Everybody has different personalities and things like that. I just had to pick different coach points from Coach David and pick different coach points from Coach Fran and put into my game. And once I got out of Syracuse and to the Jags, I'm just putting it in line every day. And it's not that much different. When you're talking about, being detailed and relentless and tough and things like that. Because just playing a game of football, it takes all those things, and I brought those traits with me here.
And being there in Jacksonville, Liam Cohen, what would you say about him as a head coach and what he brings to the locker room? I've seen some moments with him, some very, very entertaining, energy-laden moments where he's been excited about this team. What has it been like to work under him?
It's been amazing, just knowing that he brings the energy every day and knowing that he wants what's best for us and try to put us, in the best spot possible, for the team to be successful. And, I love being, under him and playing for him. It's definitely, life-changing.
You're in a locker room with guys that I've gotten to talk with, Foye Oluwakin and Josh Hines Allen, Travis Etienne Jr., Trevor Lawrence. What's it like being in that Jacksonville locker room?
It means a lot, just being around true vets, being around guys that, doing day in, day out, for years. And, just being acknowledged for it, all across the league. And, just wanting to be in their shoes one day and, just learning from them every day. It means a lot to me just knowing, I have so much more to grow. And, it's just the sky's the limit.
Your quarterback, it was your adversary in college. So what's it like working with Trevor Lawrence, who came from the Clemson Tigers, to be with him in Jacksonville, and just what the experience has been like having him be your quarterback?
It's been amazing, being able to protect him and things like that and learn, the game, certain parts of the game from him. He's a very great guy, great and smart guy too. But just being able to step up, protect, be a check down for him, an outlet for him, anything, that he needs. It's just been amazing to be out there with him and things like that and being able to take some wins with him, man.
You said something right there that I thought was extremely important that people don't focus on enough. You said it's great to protect him. That part of your game, being a running back that's not just wanting the ball and to carry that ball all over the field, but to be a running back that is going to protect his quarterback, be that extra blocker. How much have you worked on that, and where would you say you are in being a running back that a team can trust to pick up that guy that may be uncovered coming after your quarterback?
Yeah, I've been working on it a lot, and I love doing it. I love being physical, stepping up and holding, blocking linebackers. Blocking big time linebackers that the league think they're big time linebackers. So I love to be able to have that matchup and be able to block them and help help the O-line have a great pocket, you know, so Trevor can deliver a dime. But I think that's what people sometimes, you know, forget and don't look at, is, you know, the protection of it and not just running the ball and receiving the ball, but, you know, blocking and things like that. That's just taking your game to the next level, and, you know, that's what I'm trying to do. Not just trying to worry about running the ball and catching the ball and running routes too, but also protecting and, you know, all phases of the game.
And as we look at that in your role, we saw this team have Travis Etienne Jr. and Tank Bigsby. Tank gets traded to the Philadelphia Eagles early on this season, and then you get drafted in the same draft as fellow ACC player, Virginia Tech Hokies alum Basil Tootin. When that move happened where Tank left, what was said to you, or was anything said to you about the growing role that you might have with this team, knowing that it's now Travis, Basil, and yourself?
It's time to step up. You know, it's time to step up and, you know, put everything that we've been working on and practice and, you know, in the meeting rooms and things like that into play on Sundays. And, you know, that's what I've been trying to do and get the guys around me better. And I think that's what it's about.
It's an all ACC backfield in Jacksonville with Travis Etienne Jr., Clemson, Basil Tootin of Virginia Tech, and of course you of Syracuse. Is there any playful razzing back and forth? And as a kind of second part to that question, did you say anything to Travis Etienne after this past weekend?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, my Block S, you know, the Q's got that dub for sure. And you know, I was talking stuff to him, but I didn't get the first question, I'm sorry, but I was too busy, you know, on that second question that fired me up a little bit. I'm happy, you know, those guys got that dub down there in Death Valley.
Yeah, the first question is having an all ACC backfield and what it's like to work with Basil as well as Travis.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, the two guys that, you know, work hard every day, great running backs, you know, and great guys on and off the field. It means a lot to me, you know, to learn things from both of them and just learn, you know, in between gaps, like cuts and things like that they do. You know, I'm just trying to learn those things too, and just learn, you know, different parts of their game and put it into my game.
And when you look at your game, I know that you're versatile and we've talked about it, but what would you say has been the biggest evolution piece of your game since coming out of Syracuse into Jacksonville? What does LeQuint Allen Jr. football look like right now?
I would say, you know, God-driven, you know, tough, relentless, and, you know, won't back down from anything or any situation, any adversity, you know, that it brings. And, you know, front line, you know, soldier for my teammates, you know, putting on a line for my teammates no matter what. And give it all I got at the end of the day, and always be open to learn, because I don't know everything, so I want to learn, you know, whether that's from, you know, Trevor or, you know, Travis or, you know, even the O-line, things like that, or even receivers or certain routes, certain catches, how you know, bring it in and lock it up, protect the ball. But I think there's always areas to get better.
The first thing you said was God-driven. Why is it so important for you to keep your faith first?
Because, you know, without him, you know, I'm nothing for sure. And I've been tested, you know, throughout my life. And, you know, for sure, I'm nothing without him.
I love that you say that. You know that you and I definitely parallel in that world. So in this path that God has given you from Syracuse to Jacksonville and to Syracuse before that, what have you been most grateful for going through the adversity, going through the tough times, having those moments where people would be complaining? How do you see adversity in your journey to where you are today as an advantage, and how did adversity almost become a blessing from God?
I think, you know, adversity, I'm nothing without adversity too, because I think, you know, without pain, there's no gain. You know, it's a song called No Pain, No Gain. I think, you know, that's true. And, you know, just adversity just been hitting me my whole life, so I just, you know, I love attacking it and, you know, get better from it. You never want to run away from it because, you know, what you're scared of, you know, if you want to get better, you got to attack the adversity. And I think adversity definitely helps shape, you know, who you want to be and where you want to be. And I thank God for allowing me to see that vision. But, you know, that adversity hit and, you know, sometimes you don't know the in-between of where you're trying to go. And that's where, you know, you just got to step up and, you know, you just got to be strong and, you know, still have that faith.
There's people, places, and things that will stand in the way of good, hardworking people. How have you navigated past those moments of things you can't control?
Just like you said, just if I can't control it, I gotta control what I can control, and I think that's the biggest thing. And God's gonna help me. God's gonna control what I can't. I gotta control what I can, and I just gotta put it in play, and I just gotta have a tunnel vision, and be straightforward with things. You can't basically look yourself in the mirror every day.
I come from LeQuint Allen Jr. here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Before I let you go, I do want to play some rapid fire with you and let you do something that you never get to do, which is ask the questions. But before we do that, LeQuint, I do want to check in with you because you and I didn't get to talk about this yet. Bring me into the moment that you found out you're going to be drafted, who called you, just how that whole series of events went from working out to, like, did you work out with the Jaguars? And
So
then bring me into that.
I did the combine and then I did the pro day. I actually messed up my leg, so I didn't run the 40, and I think that kind of dropped my stock a little bit, because a lot of teams wanted to know how fast I truly was. They knew I was versatile and things like that, but they just wanted to see how fast I was. But got past that and didn't run at the combine or the pro day, and I just worked out. And I actually didn't meet with the Jags that much, and when they called, it was kind of surprising. And then my cousin, actually played for the Jags not too long ago, in around 2020, around 2019. So, it came full circle, and I was happy to be a Jag that day for sure.
How did you find out? Like, was it your agent letting you know? Did somebody call you directly? What was that moment like?
Oh nah, it was in the draft room. They called me, and I answered it, and it was Coach Corn, and I was a Jag that day.
You said I've been covering the Jaguars and got to spend 13 years at least inside the locker room getting to know these guys. Who's your cousin that was back there in 2019-20?
Raquel Armstead.
Okay, all right, Raquel Armstead.
Also a running back too.
Yeah, running back from Temple, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I actually got to talk with him, so I got to be around him when he was in Jacksonville. So let's go into rapid fire, LeQuint. We've got to talk about Syracuse and Jacksonville. Now we can talk about whatever you want. You get to ask me the first question. What do you got?
What's your favorite Syracuse moment of all time? Syracuse football.
My favorite Syracuse football moment of all time?
Yep.
Man, that's a good question. That I've lived in, I would say Camping World Stadium, 2018. Team goes 10-3 for the first time in forever. Eric Dungy and I talked about it after the game, and that's where he was very emotional. I actually have a framed picture of when he cried after talking about his career with me after that game. And just a great human being. God bless his father in heaven and his mom and his brother and sister and everybody that's with him. And then, I would have to say probably Syracuse winning at Death Valley this past weekend because they had never done it.
For sure, that's tough. Definitely. I'm glad I was able to see that too. I was happy when I seen that.
Yeah. My question back to you, LeQuint, is, okay. 3-part question. You can go anywhere in the world that you've never been to before. Where do you travel to? You could bring one person you know, and you could bring one celebrity. Where are you going? Who are you taking?
I would probably go somewhere in South America. I'll probably go like Brazil or something. And I would bring my mother.
Okay. And what celebrity?
And I would bring I'm trying to think. I don't know. I would bring somebody for her though, whoever, she would want to come. But if anything, I would probably bring Barry Sanders. Get some tips from him.
All right. Fair enough. That's a good guy to get tips from. What's your next question for me?
I would say, how many states you lived in before?
So I've traveled to many, but I've lived in Pennsylvania, New York, and Florida. Florida's actually become a second home. So in the work that I've done with the Jaguars, the Bucks, the Dolphins, the Rays, UCF, South Florida, Miami, Florida State, and the high schools, it's actually become a second hub of our company. And so we actually have residency in both places, which is awesome. And it's been great. So yeah, Florida's still, I mean, Florida's home number 2 for sure, but I think the Carolinas have stepped up a bit as well and gotten to do some work there. My question back to you, LeQuint, I'm going to put you on the spot. So you're recruiting Fran Brown. What position do you put Fran Brown on a football team? And what is the first thing, if you could give any piece of advice to Fran Brown, what advice do you give to him, and what position do you have him play?
I would play coach at definitely in the secondary. You know, he's expert at the secondary positions. You know, whether that's safety or corner or that nickel spot. You know, anywhere in the secondary. And I would tell him, you know, keep that same drive and just keep it in him. You know, because I think that's what it takes to be successful in this industry. And you know, just being able to be yourself in different rooms and things like that. That means a lot. You know, you can always be yourself and never change. And I think, you know, that's what I would tell him. You know, the same thing on the football field. Just be yourself, and you know, everything's gonna be smooth.
I love that. All right, you got one final question. What is it?
What's your dream?
Man, I'm living it. But if you want, but you know, more than anything in the world of being a broadcaster and some screenwriting and acting and different stuff I've gotten to do and working in music and whatnot, I think the biggest thing for me would be to find myself a good woman, have myself a family, have the opportunity to be a father and to lead a household. I would say that that's been the dream above all the dreams pretty much my whole life.
For sure.
All right, my question back to you, Quint, my last one for you. Man, that's tough. I haven't talked to you in a minute, so I got like 100 questions in my head. So my last question for you is, let me see here. All right, so I'm going to ask you to be a screenwriter for a minute. Okay? You're going to create a movie, and you and I have been around each other for years. You know my personality, you know what I stand for, and same with you. So we're going to be in a movie.
Yep.
We're going to be superheroes. You got to decide what superpower you're going to have, what superpower I'm going to have, what city we protect, and what villain we face.
Okay, that's a good one. So let's protect New York City for sure. Let's protect New York City.
Okay.
And then my superpower, I'm like time traveling, and like I can read your mind at the same time. So like I can basically prevent things before they happen, and I already did it before it happened. And your superpower would be, you like probably like the Hulk, like you'll be real strong and things like that, and ripped up and jacked and things like that. And the villain, I would say the villain. He has like a mini army type. Like he's not really the one doing it. It's like he got like a couple people with like a mini army, and then so my idea is I'm gonna try to figure out their plan and things like that, and you're gonna be taking care of the army, and then I gotta figure out how the boss of them, what's his next move so we can take them down together.
I love that. So I'm taking care of the army while you're working through his plan, trying to figure it out, able to time travel to stop certain things. So the brains and the brawn, literally. So I like that. With that being said, LeQuint Allen Jr., Syracuse alum, Jacksonville Jaguar running back, wearing number 36. And, of course, we're here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. The last thing that I will have, you'll get the last word, but I have to say this to you, LeQuint, because, life is precious and you never know when you're done. So I want to say this to you right now because I have the opportunity to look you in the eye and say it.
Yeah.
It has been easy for me to promote a person like you. It has been easy for me to talk with you. It has been easy for me to tell people about you and to root for someone like yourself, your character, your faith in God, your consistency, your humbleness, and remembering the people that were there with you along the way that have always believed in you. So keep that smile, keep your spirit, keep your work ethic, and just know that God has your back, and there's not a single person on this planet that will ever stop you, because you got it all inside, and you don't need anything else but you and the big guy. And it's an honor, in my opinion, to be able to know you and to tell people that because be more than anything else, I'm like, man, I love shaking his hand and giving him a hug, because you're just a different type of guy, and I want you to know that.
I appreciate that, man. Yes, sir.
So you get the last word. You could say anything to Duval. What do you want to say?
Duval.
Awesome, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. It could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project, from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272.
My and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Definitely want to thank LeQuint Allen one more time for being a part of the show and being here with me. Such an awesome opportunity to get to speak to someone who I respect and I have been able to have on the show over the years. It's been really, really nice. And, like I said, the handshake and the hug, that's what means the most to me. We've gotten to spend a lot of time together and see each other and bump into each other out in public, and it's just nice to be around a guy like LeQuint. I'm so happy for him. I'm not surprised that he made an NFL roster. I'm not surprised that, he's gotten himself out there, and I just hope the Jaguars see his value and continue to get him out there and give him an opportunity, because that man's going to work for it and he's going to get after it. And I just, I hope he's in a place that really sees that, values that, and make sure that they get him out on the field, because he can do so many things for you. It was good to see him in the preseason and these first few games of the season, to be able to see him out there. I mean, he's a rookie. And like I said, some people count you out. You're drafted in the 7th round, and here he is, out there in these games, late in the game, standing right next to Trevor Lawrence. So I can't say enough about LeQuint Allen Jr. Just happy to see him doing his thing and having fun and being himself, and more than anything else, giving all glory to God above that. I do want to get into the fact that we're going to be inside of Major League Baseball postseason already. I mean, it's literally happening today. Like, this season ended on Sunday, 2 days ago, and we're already going into the baseball wild card round, which is crazy that it's all essentially starting right now. In just a few hours, I should say. We have the Tigers and the Guardians are going to start things off in Cleveland. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Time today on ESPN. And then at 3 p.m., we have the Padres at the Cubs out in Chicago today on ABC. And then at 6 p.m., we will have the Red Sox at the Yankees. And then at 9, and that's on ESPN. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, we'll have the Reds at the Dodgers. So the wild card round is officially here. We know the Brewers and the Phillies in the National League have already advanced outside of the wild card into the divisional round because of the 1 and 2 seed respectively. And we know in the American League, those advancing are the number 1 Blue Jays and the number 2 Mariners. And So that'll put us in a position of seeing if the Guardians or the Tigers will face the Mariners, the Yankees or the Red Sox will face the Blue Jays, which is funny because the Yankees and the Red Sox are in the same division, the American League East, and whoever wins that will face another American League East team. So you're going from the American League East, where you're trying to win it, into the playoffs where you have to face an American League East opponent in the wild card. And if you advance, you have to face another American League East opponent. So interesting road for the Yankees, Red Sox, and Jays there. And then whoever wins between the Reds and the Dodgers will face off against the Phillies. And that's actually 3 different divisions in the National League. You have the National League West with the Dodgers, you have the National League Central with the Reds, and the National League East with the Phillies. So none of that is in-division rivalry. And then the Brewers will get the winner of the Cubs and the Padres. So a lot of excitement here. Of course, the Tigers and the Guardians. The Tigers had the division, running the division, handling the division, lost the division late in the season to the Cleveland Guardians. And now the Guardians have the opportunity. They knocked the Tigers out from being the American League Central champion and took over that spot. Now they have the opportunity to knock the Tigers out of the playoffs completely. Cleveland does. In this AL Central matchup that starts today at 1 o'clock. Literally the first game of the postseason is an incredibly exciting game, and I can't wait to watch it. So I hope you're watching baseball today. Murph and I are going to be putting our brackets up on the social media of Wake Up Call, which is, of course, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. So I'm excited to do that, excited to put that up and let you take a look at it and see where we're going in our postseason. He doesn't have a dog in the race, right, with his Mets out, and I don't have a dog in the race with my Diamondbacks out, but that's okay. It's okay. I know the Diamondbacks fought. I know that, they did some good things toward the end, and I'm not upset. I'm not upset with the Diamondbacks. I know they worked hard, and I think, a lot of people had them out of it. A lot of people thought there was no way that they were going to get this thing done because of the trades that they made, the players that they lost. They lost 2 hitters, and they lost one of their best pitchers in recent history in Merrill Kelly. So the question was, is this team just rebuilding toward the future? Are they understanding that, they don't have the playoff caliber team, and are they, selling so that they can essentially go into a new chapter, a new era? And I think that they showed you that they're still very much an effective team. They still very much have a lot to give to Major League Baseball and to give to their fans. And I think that they're not a team that's out of it. They're not a team that's not vying for something. They're a team that, is retooling, restructuring, moving things around, and that's okay. It's okay to do something like that. It's okay to move some pieces around. And, the Diamondbacks made it in 2023 to the World Series when a lot of people counted them out and thought that they were nobodies. They didn't know the names of the players on the team. They didn't care to know the names of the players on the team. And, there was this mentality that they were just, they're the Diamondbacks. They're not that great. Who cares? And look at what they did. Look at what they did with a team where Merrill Kelly wasn't a household name. Brandon Pfaadt wasn't a household name. Christian Walker, right? Geraldo Perdomo, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. These guys, maybe Zach Gallen in certain circles, these guys were not household names. That you might have known Corbin Carroll because that was his rookie season and he was supposed to have a strong season, and maybe that's, if you knew any name, that's probably the name you knew. But they made it not only to the postseason, but they made it to the World Series with a team that had a lot of names that people were not familiar with. So for them to make it to the brink of going to the postseason after letting go of Naylor, after letting go of Suarez and Kelly, after those things happen, I think a lot of people anticipated that the Diamondbacks would just fade off into the sunset, and they didn't. And even though they came up short, I just want to let the Diamondbacks franchise know I see you. And not because I'm a Diamondback fan, but because I respect the fact that you continue to do amazing things with players that people may not know and may not follow. And now hopefully they do know you or they get to know you. Jerry says, go Phillies. Jerry, I'd love to get your thoughts here. Do you think the Phillies have enough to make it to the end? That's the big question here. So I'd love to get your thoughts and get a feel for where you're at, because this is going to be this to me is, I know the postseason's been, I'm trying to say it in such a, because I know the postseason's been awesome. The postseason's been great. And over these last few years, it's really been wonderful, right? I can't knock by any stretch of the imagination what we've seen in recent history. I just have a feeling that this might be a really special postseason. That some cool things might happen, that maybe bring in some fans that maybe don't watch baseball that much. Just because there's teams that maybe you're not going to be used to seeing that end up making the splash, right? Teams that you may not be high on or know a lot about. And I'm looking forward to this. I really am. I'm very much looking forward to the opportunity of seeing what this Major League Baseball postseason is going to give. And I'm trying my hardest to not give away where I'm going in my picks, because we're going to be releasing our brackets to the world. And when I say we, Murph and I are going to be releasing our brackets. And when we release those brackets, you'll be able to see the digital piece. By the way, I did something in the studio. And those of you that know me, and I was thinking about this within the last couple days, those of you that know me, I stick by my predictions. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And when I'm right, I'm right. And I don't shy away of, if I am wrong, then I'm wrong. And if I'm right, then I'm right. Now, I put this in the studio, and those of you that have watched episodes, the Super Bowl ends this past season, and I said the Super Bowl is going to be this coming season, 2025-26. It will be in California. And I was thinking in my head, who would they have? And I was thinking Hispanic, and I was thinking the West Coast, and I was thinking California specifically. I wrote down on this piece of paper and literally put it over here off camera, and it's been sitting off camera for months. This was my prediction of who would be the Super Bowl halftime show for 2025-26. Can you see it? Hold on. Let me make sure we get this here so you can see it. You see that? Bad Bunny. I wrote this down months ago. This was my prediction. I thought it was the only way that they were going to go. And they did. So this little piece of paper that's been sitting here that said Bad Bunny, well, the Super Bowl made their decision, and it's Bad Bunny. And so there you go, folks. A prediction here in the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora that came true. And I did not take that away from its spot right here off camera, whether I was right or wrong. So shout out to Bad Bunny and the upcoming Super Bowl. Thank you for letting that piece of paper definitely have the right prediction on it. That was pretty cool. So excited for that, and excited to see this NFL season. I want it to go by slowly. It always goes by so fast. So God, let it go by slowly. And obviously prayers up and blessings down to Tyreek Hill with his injury, and to everybody who's injured, and to be healthy, be well, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, everybody out there. My prayers and my support, my well wishes are with every single one of you. And right before we take this step aside for the Bearcat Breakroom coming up, I want to do this really quick. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I ask that you please heal all of us, this land, everything, everywhere. Heal us completely, and heal us for good. And no matter what, heal us through your love, and help us to handle well whatever comes our way. in and out of our control. With all of the emotional, physical, mental, psychological, spiritual, economical, whatever's going on that we are frustrated about, worried about, stressed about, please, God, calm our hearts, calm our souls, our bodies, and our minds, and help us to be well, and may nothing, even the most impossible in our minds, may nothing be above your love and above your healing power. May you heal us, may you help us, and may we give our lives to you every single day in how we treat people and in what we say, in word and deed. God bless. No stress. Do your best. I love you, God, and thank you for everything. In Jesus' most precious name we pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. With that, we'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call. When we come back, we will be ready for a wonderful opportunity to speak with Lizzy Tirado, here where sports meets life.
Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios and just hearing from Great Lakes Honda City right there here on Wake Up Call. It is, of course, a Tuesday right around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which means it is Bearcat time. The opportunity in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University to tell the stories of the Bearcats. And to tell this story today, I have the blessing and the opportunity to bring onto the broadcast with me Lizzy Tirado, who will be joining us here in just a moment. And there we go. So Lizzy is here with us on the broadcast. Hi. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I can already feel the positive energy. Are you a morning person?
Honestly, I've become a morning person. Like it took me a while though.
Okay. So it took you a minute to be a morning person. What got you there? Was it early practice or what finally okay, you're nodding yes, early practice. What time's practice?
Yeah. So, we do dry land Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's pretty early. So today was at 6:30, and then it's at 7:30 on Thursday. So I had to learn kind of how to adapt and find like a nice routine that's good for me, so I can not be a zombie all the rest of the day.
That's fair. So what routine did you find? Do you have like I got to go to sleep by this certain point? Like what's the routine that allows you to be up and at it and energized in the morning? What have you kind of figured out works for you?
Yeah, honestly, I've just learned that I need sleep.
Yeah.
It's just so I need it. So I'll usually like get in bed at 9 and then try to fall asleep by 10. So I have like an hour just to kind of chill. And then I'm like, by that time, I'm like, okay, I can finally sleep. And just having at least 8 hours, I'm like, okay, like I'm ready to go.
Okay, yes. And you know, it's funny how you say that you realize you need sleep. We all need sleep. We just don't listen when our parents tell us that we need to get some sleep. I definitely, I mean, if my parents are watching right now, they would say he still doesn't sleep, and we still tell him to this day to rest and get some sleep. And I'll get in bed, and then I'll do, you know, I'll be working on something. I'll be getting the show ready for tomorrow and doing a bunch of things and whatnot. Or I'll be watching something funny and trying to just shut my brain off. So I can definitely appreciate the fact that you said you need some sleep and you get it. So Lizzy,
It's a lot of self-discipline though. It's very hard.
It is. It's definitely hard. So when you, like you just said, Tuesday and Thursday is dry land. So I love the verbiage of that. So bring us into what a week is as someone on the swimming and diving team. What is the dry land? And then obviously, you know, the dry land in the pool or dry land and wetland, whatever you want to call it. What is kind of the regimen under Jerry Comiskey?
Yeah, so for swimming and diving, it's a little bit different. I'm a diver, so
Yeah.
our practice looks a little bit different than the swimmers. But we usually just practice every day, Monday through Saturday in the water. And it's like usually 2 hours. And on Monday, Wednesday, we'll do lift. And then Tuesday, Thursday is like the dry land. So it's kind of like conditioning. So we'll do like, burpees, abs, just stuff to, to like build our endurance and all of that. And then for diving, we always do abs before practice. And then we also will stretch, and then we'll do some dry land before we get in the water. And that could consist of doing like stuff on the trampoline, like flips. It can be like the air track, and we kind of practice like how to come out of a dive. And then we also have a dry board. So instead of landing in the water, you land on a mat. And it's just a good way to practice your hurdle and just like all your technique before you like get in the water.
You mentioned a word that scares some people, and that was the word burpee.
Oh yeah, those are rough.
So I wanted to ask you, do you feel that you have, is the burpee beating you, or are you beating the burpee at this point?
Like I fear the burpee might be beating me. Today was a rough one, but especially when you have to add the push-up, but we didn't have to add the push-up today. But yeah, no, the dry lands are very intense, but I think they're great. I think it's super beneficial and productive, and it's a really good way just to get some extra like conditioning in. And it's nice because we get to do it with the swimmers, and usually we don't practice like diving. We're in a separate well, and then the swimmers are, swimming. So we don't really have an opportunity to really like practice with them. So the dry land's like a good place to do that with them.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, swimming and diving is obviously separate, and there's different regimens that you do. What people don't fully understand is when you look at a guy like Jerry Comiskey and you see his title, it says men's and women's swimming and diving head coach, which means that he is literally overseeing 4 teams. He has men's diving, women's diving, men's swimming, women's swimming. So being a part of this greater group, do you feel that, Jerry and the staff, is there things that you do to bring everybody together? Because like you said, sometimes the divers are over here and the swimmers are over here doing their thing. If you go to a meet, like I was at your meet over the weekend, and being at the meet at Nottingham in Syracuse, New York to start off the season, you see that there's swimming and then there's diving and then there's a break and then you go back to swimming. And so, coaches are saying like, hey, to the swimmers, come over here and let's cheer on the divers. Let's make sure we're all together. Do you feel that there are things that the coaching staff does at Binghamton to make sure that, albeit swimmers and divers are doing their own thing, that they still bring you all together?
Yeah, 100%. I think Jerry does a really great job of, he always emphasizes the fact that we are one team at the end of the day, and he does a great job with being inclusive with all of us. Yeah, at these meets, when we have like other teams, or if it's an invitational, the swimmers will watch diving, which is always super great because it just, we like, the support means a lot to us, and it's like, and it also like helps us too. It's like a nice, like, you know what, like I have a great support system and I'm gonna go out and I want to make them proud and make my team proud. But yeah, he does a great job, and we do like a lot of team things together. Like we'll do like team bonding and all of that stuff. So we all are like a pretty close-knit group, and I think Jerry does a great job with that as well.
Yeah, and I love hearing that, and I'm happy that you have that close-knit community, because one thing I said to him when I got to talk with him over the weekend at the pool in Nottingham was the reality that most people think of a football team and they say, okay, well, there's a lot of players, there's a lot of student athletes on a football team. What they don't know is on a swim team, you can you could be at 50 plus. You could definitely have these huge numbers. So people think, when they look at any team when it comes to collegiate athletics, they think football's got this massive roster, but so does swimming and diving. How do you try to personally connect with people, and not just, just divers or just swimmers, but everybody, with a roster that is so vast with people from all over the place? How do you personally try to make sure that you get to know your teammates? Because it's not like some of the other sports where there's 9 student athletes on a team.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit challenging. But for me, I'm a really big talker, so I can go on and on. So anytime we have a meet or anything and we're like cheering on, like we're done with diving and now it's like just swimming for the rest of the meet. Yeah. I like to just go around and talk to everyone and be like, oh, like how has the meet gone for you today? Like, are you happy? And I just like to go around and talk to everyone, because I feel like I just want to show that I am being a supportive teammate and that I do care. And I think it's great. And then it's nice too, because then like I get to learn more about them as well. And also on like the women's side, we'll do a bunch of women's team bonding stuff, which is super fun. So usually before our home meets, we'll do like pasta parties. So all the upperclassmen will like make pasta and desserts, and then we have everyone come over, and it's like a good time just to like get out of the pool and hang out in like a different setting, which is really nice. But yeah, I definitely just try to check in with everyone, and I always like to ask, especially in a meet, like how they're feeling, how they're doing. And even like if we're at lift or something and I come across one of them, I just like to like check in. And yeah, that's something that I like to personally do, just because I'm very outgoing and I can talk.
So Lizzy, here inside of this Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City studios, there's a bunch of things that I want to talk with you about, but you just said that the upperclassmen make the pasta. So your last name ends in a vowel. Do you have Italian blood?
I don't. I'm
You
actually
don't. Okay.
Puerto Rican and Polish.
So
Very, very interesting mix.
So Puerto Rican and Polish, yeah, two totally separate places in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so polar opposites, I guess, in a way. And so you have that heritage, and I'll get to that in a second. You said upperclassmen make the pasta. So are you making the pasta as a senior now? And if you are, what are you making?
So for me, I have a really big sweet tooth, so I usually do the desserts. But I made a brookie this past weekend, which is like a brownie and a cookie. It was so good. And then a lot of the girls at my house, they made like shrimp scampi, penne alla vodka. My roommate made garlic bread. Oh my gosh, the food was so good. We always like carve up right before the meat. It's like my favorite tradition that we do.
I love that you said a brookie. That I mean, because I mean I know what you're talking about, but a brownie and a cookie, I've never heard anybody call it a brookie. So that's
Really?
no, I have not. So Puerto Rican and Polish, how would you describe how that has just intertwined in who you are? Because I'm big on heritage. I'm proud to be Italian and Hispanic. So to be Puerto Rican and Polish for you, just bring me into that. And the thing is that now that once you said Puerto Rican, I can see it in your face. I could definitely see it because I've been around. I mean, I got to work at Disney, and at Disney, you're literally working with the United Nations. There's people all over the world. Like you can be one bus and have 7 countries. So I would love to hear how Puerto Rican and Polish blends together in what we have in Lizzy Tirado.
Yeah, it's a very interesting mix. Obviously, like from a glance, a lot of people have no idea that I'm Hispanic. But then once I say it, some people are like, "Oh, like I could see that." I'm very proud though of who I am and my like heritage. I love having Polish and Puerto Rican because it's just so unique, and it's not a lot of people have that like difference in nationality. And I'm super blessed, and I mean, I definitely, now that I'm getting older, I'm trying to learn more Spanish. I can definitely understand it, but when I speak it, it's very sloppy. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be working on. Um, and also, I really am trying to learn more about my Polish heritage too. But yeah, I love it. It makes me me, and um, yeah, I'm just so proud of like my identity, and I love being especially Hispanic too. I love it.
Well, and I love to hear that, and I'm happy that you're happy with the skin you're in, because that is an important thing for everyone to find that happiness and that peace with, and be proud of who they are. There was something when you were talking about this. It's interesting to me because, like, you know, when people see me growing up and whatnot, they would say, okay, he's Italian. And there was no thought about being Hispanic. And I didn't know until I was 14. Like, nobody told me. My grandmother said something, and then they told me about my great grandma Nana and that she was fluent in Spanish. I had no idea because I was 4 when she passed away. But to, you know, something that, like you said, when you speak it, you want to get better at that. Every time I say certain words, I want to say it the correct way. But I feel like when you're around people that don't know or don't appreciate Hispanic culture, they think like you're trying too hard. And it's like, no, it's not Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? It's Puerto Rico. So, I mean, that's how I want to say it. And then some people look at you like, why are you saying it like that? You don't have to say it like that. We know what you mean. And I'm like, because I'm trying to be respectful of the actual place that it comes from. So
Yes.
when I was in Puerto Rico, I had the opportunity to speak Spanish, and it was the only time that I ever thought in Spanish. Like, my mind shifted. I thought in Spanish and had to translate it to English because it was like a survival thing to me. I wanted to respect the culture, because you get off the plane and you get in the taxi cab, and the guy that was our driver, I mean, anytime you got in a car, I felt like they were like, oh, these are Americans. And they kind of were like, you know, okay, you know, these are people coming to visit. They don't understand the language. And I didn't want them to feel that way. I wanted them to feel like, I'm coming to your home. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to do my best to speak with you. And so they would say, gracia, and I would say de nada. And then they taught me in Puerto Rico, it's not de nada, it's no hay de qué. And so like, there's different dialects and there's different ways that people say things, just as simple as you're welcome. But I will tell you this, I used to speak it all the time, pretty much daily when I worked at Disney down in Orlando. So Lizzy, this is what we'll do. When you and I talk or we see each other on campus or something like that, I will do my best to work with you and you with me. And let's make sure we speak this a little bit more.
Yes, we'll balance each other out.
So you come from the parents, Ralph and Holly. And I can tell you that I know that because they both followed me on social media yesterday when they saw that.
Oh, yeah.
So I would love for you to share, because I'm sure they're watching, just what you want to say about mom and dad, about Ralph and Holly.
Yeah, they are the best parents I can ask for. I actually, before I started diving, I was a swimmer. And so that was like my sport. And I would always do like flips and things off the diving board. And then my dad was like, oh, well, there's this summer camp called Future Stars. It's at Purchase College. And you can do that and see if you like it. My mom's like, yeah, you should go for it. So I go, and then I ended up doing the camp, and I was learning these dives pretty quickly. And I was really enjoying it. And I was like, and then I went to them and I was like, you guys, like, I think I like diving better than swimming. Like, I think this is what I want to do instead of swimming. And they immediately like were so supportive, and they had my back, and they're like, if that's what you want to do, we're going to do it, and we're going to support you. And yeah, they're like a big reason why I got into diving today. And they're just such an amazing, again, just a great support system to have. They're like my biggest fans, my biggest advocates. And for them being like with me throughout my transition from swimming to diving and just showing unconditional support just meant the world to me. And now being diving at school, I just want to make them proud and just leave it, like, give everything I got, because they made so many sacrifices for me too, from the switch from swimming to diving. And yeah, I'm just forever grateful for them, and they're the best.
Yeah, and like you said, you made that transition from swimming to diving. And for you, when you reflect on that, hindsight 2020, what are your thoughts on that decision? Because you have now seen the essence of what a swimming and diving team is from both angles. So as you look back on that decision as a diver today, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we were a very big swim family. My brother even swam. My dad was an official. So swimming was a huge part of my life. Like, I did it for a very long time. And I guess just seeing it in a collegiate level, I really respect and appreciate the sport, because it taught me a lot. And I give a lot of props to the swimmers on our team, because it's a very mentally challenging sport and physically. And yeah, I just think that I really appreciate swimming a lot more than others, just because I experienced it. And I also just love the culture of swimming. It's always so exciting, especially when there's like a close race and you're like, oh my gosh, like, come on, keep going, you're cheering. So the energy is always just amazing. I love that. But yeah, I love watching swimming just because that's something I grew up with for so long. So it's kind of nice to appreciate both swimming and diving. And swimming has taught me so much, and helped me into like the person I am today, and even helped me with diving, especially like if I'm experiencing any fear or any self-doubts. I had to learn how to deal with all of that during my swim career, and then I got to also translate that into my dive career now too. So I definitely really appreciate the sport and all that it's done for me.
I love hearing that. Lizzy Tirado here with us, Bearcat Breakroom, inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Binghamton diving student athlete here with us this morning inside the 2025 season. When I was at the meet over the weekend and we were at the diving portion of it, it is dead silent outside of the announcer saying, "This is who's up." And so it's just silent in the pool, and it's you. And like you said, if you have any moments of fear or doubt or anything, you go back to your swimming days, what you learned from being on the swim team. But what can you say to the effect of, like, when you're swimming, right? There's a bunch of lanes and there's a bunch of people getting after it, right? So, and it's loud and it's crazy and people are cheering and the water's splashing. When you're a diver, it is you. That's it. It sounds like this. So how have you adjusted to that?
Yeah, it is a big change, but overall, this is the mentality I had with swimming. I, for myself, just focus on having fun and just enjoying myself, especially as a senior. I'm just telling myself that, you know what, I only have so many meets left in my career that I just need to make the most out of every single one. But yes, like at these meets, it's sometimes like usually during dual meets, diving will happen during swimming, so it's not as like intense. But the meet that we just had, since there wasn't a separate well for diving, they had to stop swimming and then the swimmers had to watch. So, and then it was like pretty silent. But something that just helps me is just staying loose, having fun like as much as I can. And there was music going on in the background, which was super helpful because it kind of gets our mind off of like, okay, like we have all these people watching and we are like, it takes your mind off of like thinking about a dive. It's just like a good way to let loose and just like be excited more than nervous. But it's definitely a big change and it took a long time to get used to. But for me, I just focus on, again, just enjoying myself and having fun cheering on my teammates because I don't have a lot of these meets left to go and I don't want to take them for granted. So that's been something that just kind of gives me peace because I know I'm going to miss this a lot. It definitely is still nerve-wracking, though, when it's really silent and you have everyone watching, but it's super good just to stay loose, and music always really helps. I think we're even going to have music during our championship meet, and it's nice because it kind of takes the pressure load off a little bit.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you is, as you're going up and getting ready to do it, when you're waiting your turn, are you listening to me? Like if there wasn't music on, are you listening to music? Are you saying something yourself? Like what's kind of you're up in 3 minutes. What are those 3 minutes for you? Is it music? Is it self-talk? Is it prayer? Is it, just silence for you and getting in the zone? And what are you doing right before you go for that next dive?
Yeah. So usually, if it's like super close, leading up to my turn, I don't really listen to music unless we have some like kind of music playing in the background, and I just kind of think about the dive that I'm doing, and I like to just have like a little talk, like I just kind of talk to myself, and I just remind myself, just give it all that you have, and then I always think about my grandfather who passed because he was also a really big person who had helped with my transition from swimming to diving, and he was like my biggest cheerleader. He loved swimming, he loved diving, and he knew I was coming here. So I always just think about him, and then I just remind myself, I'm like, I'm going to do it for you, I'm going to do it for God, and I'm just going to leave it all out on the board and just do my best. So I kind of like to just say those thoughts in my head right before I go. And yeah, that's usually like what I do during each turn.
You said to your grandpa, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to do it for God.
Mm-hmm.
What's grandpa's first name?
Oh, Bob.
Bob. You said Papa. You were about to say Papa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Grandpa was here right now, if Papa was here right now, what do you think he would say?
Oh, he would be like, I'm so proud of you for sure. Because I think I've grown a lot as a person, especially with handling fear and anxiety. And I think he would love to see my attitude. And I definitely like had to work on my confidence too. And he would be a big person who would give me that reassurance. And the fact that I now can do it without him just shows like a lot of growth. And I think he would be super proud.
Yeah, I'm sure he would be, and I'm sure he is. And that's the thing. Like you said, you do it for him and God. You know, I picture in those moments just God with his arm around our loved ones, and there's, you know, here's the pool. They're looking at the pool. There you are, and there's Papa with God arm in arm, going, "Our little girl's got this," and God's like, "Yeah, yeah, she does." So, you know.
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing, and grandparents are incredibly important. So I'm happy that Papa continues to be in, and for you to know this, I mean, he's always going to be a part of your journey. You know that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So before we get into rapid fire, I want to go back to your high school days because you are a New Yorker, and there was something that I talk about all the time, and I'm going to put this up because I think you'll appreciate it. I wanted to post it. I haven't posted it yet. But somebody put this up. I have no idea who did. I found it online, and it says, "Oh, you're from New York?" with a question mark, and it says, "No, ... I'm from New York." And you can see the difference.
Yes, that's so true. That's so funny.
Because people, you know, when the Twin Towers fell, people asked if they hit my house, and I was like, "No, I'm a few miles away, you know, 4.5 hours." But
Right.
I have had people say this to me, and I'm gonna ask you this first before we get into those high school days for you in White Plains and whatnot. But I have heard from some people, and I know that this is idiotic. You know, I don't need anyone to champion this because I already know this is insane. But when you talk to people from New York City, and they tell you that if you're from anywhere but that tiny little island, the rest of it's Canada, doesn't count. You're not a New Yorker, is what I have heard over time. If you're from upstate New York, it's not New York. You're not a New Yorker. You can't call yourself a New Yorker. What are your thoughts on that, being a fellow upstater with me?
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all because I always hear, so this is what I always hear, especially going to Binghamton because it's so many people are from Long Island. It's
Yeah.
like an abundance of Long Island people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're from Westchester, so you're upstate." And I'm like, "No, I'm not upstate because I'm so close to the city that I've never really like considered myself upstate, or neither has like really Westchester, and we're so city that it's like weird to call us upstate." But yeah, every time they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are upstate." I'm like, "No, we're not." I'm like, I don't think upstate starts until like all the way up from Poughkeepsie. But I definitely still think even though upstate is upstate, it's still a part of New York for sure.
Yeah. So put some spec on our name is all I got to say about
Exactly.
that. So taking a look at what you did before Binghamton, a 5-year letter winner and team captain at White Plains, New York State championship qualifier in 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2022, 5-time New York State sectional qualifier, broke a pair of school records during your career, named all-conference in 2019 and 2022, a New York State scholar athlete, and also competed with the Marlins Dive Club. When you reflect on your time at White Plains, Lizzy, what do you think of?
Oh, wow. I had so much fun in high school. It was so great. I did it actually since I was in middle school because
Yeah.
when you are in seventh and eighth grade, you can try out for the high school team and be on the high school team, which was awesome. So I was there for a really long time and I loved it. I have so many good memories from there, we were a huge team. White Plains was a very big team, but I loved all the girls. We were all super close. I actually had to swim and dive during high school season. And my high school coach knew that I was a former swimmer, so she was like, "All right, you're gonna go in the relays, you're gonna do an event." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like, so that was honestly really fun, to kind of experience both swimming and diving because that's not something that's super common. That's really hard to do and balance if you want to do both of the sports. So it was fun to jump back into swimming during high school season. But yeah, really great memories. I even when we did the sectional qualifier and the state qualifiers, I would see people, my friends from my club team who were on other high school teams. So it was just such like a fun environment, atmosphere, and I loved my high school season and my time there.
Yeah. Oh. And I love that reflection on that time that you had as well, and the fact that you got to do so many different things. You also had the opportunity, when I'm speaking on this, a 5-year letter winner, because you could, in junior high, go out for that, right? Could go out for the varsity in 7th and 8th grade. And it actually benefited you because 2020 was COVID, so where people lost a year, you had 5 years that you got to do this. So, two-parter, blessing in disguise that despite COVID, you got started so early, so you really didn't have a year stolen from you. And then secondly, just how you navigated through COVID in high school.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very grateful. I definitely think it was a blessing in disguise. I'm happy my mom was like, "You need to try it out in middle school." And I was like, "Oh," and then she's like, "No, do it." So I'm really happy she pushed me to do that because even going in from middle school to the high school team, I think it was good for me too because then come my freshman year of high school, I already knew how the team worked. I knew a lot of the girls already. I already had a good relationship with the coach. So I found a lot of comfort in starting when I was actually in high school. So that was nice. And COVID was really rough, you know? It was super hard. Especially with diving, not being able to practice, it definitely was so tough. Like, it was like, you always had that itch. You're like, I need to like do something. And it was always so like, it was really tough. And even when we got back to the pool, there was a ton of rules that we had to follow. We had to wear a mask when we were waiting online for the board. And then once you were on the board, you took your mask off. And even at competitions, you had to bring masks and then you had to put them in a bag. So then after you got out of the water, you put it on. So COVID was definitely really challenging, but I had the best people around me, my family, my teammates from my club team, so they made it a little bit more enjoyable, or as much as you can, make light of the situation. But yeah, it was really challenging, but I always say that I think COVID was a good learning experience because it really taught me don't take anything for granted and to really like be present in the moment because you never know like when something can get taken away from you because you always appreciate the things that you can't have.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that was my prayer that after COVID, when people came outside, that we didn't forget all the things that we started to appreciate. That once life gets back to normal, so to speak, that all those things you didn't appreciate that you appreciated during COVID, you don't go back to not appreciating. So do you feel like you did that? Do you feel like, hey, whatever COVID taught me, I've continued to take it with me? Like, I do appreciate taking a breath of fresh air. I appreciate being able to see my family and friends. I appreciate just seeing that bird on a tree. Do you feel like you have continued to value the things that COVID helped you to value?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely still do that. Even again with it being my senior year, it just shows how much like time just goes by so fast and you don't really realize it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always take what I learned from COVID and I'm like, okay, like you can't take this for granted. just really like soak all of this in, all the memories, have a positive attitude. So you can just look back and realize, wow, like I really lived all my like time on this team to the fullest and just my college time. And yeah, I even just, COVID really taught me a lot with that. And it's definitely helped me become the person I am today as well.
Lizzy Tirado, a ball of positive energy that I love that the world gets to see this morning. Before we get into rapid fire, where you and I get to put each other on the hot seat and discuss literally any topic we want to. Over the weekend, as I said, I was at the meet at Nottingham in Syracuse, New York. It's what started off the season. Obviously, you had your green-white meet, which is within you guys facing off against each other. So first time facing somebody else. We have Lemoyne and Stonehill, and you swept the weekend, getting a victory over both Lemoyne and Stonehill at that opportunity in Nottingham. So just reflecting on that and what it meant to you to come an hour north from Binghamton to Syracuse and start the season off by sweeping your two opponents.
Yeah, it was crazy. I really like, because again, for me, I go into every meet and I'm just like, you know what? Let's just have fun, enjoy yourself, do the best that you can. And as long as I know that I gave 100%, I'm never upset, but I was super proud of how I did. I think that the meet being on a Sunday was a little bit tough on our team, but I really had to dig deep and be very positive and look at it as a good opportunity for me to just compete, have fun, do well. And I think by having a really good mindset and attitude and being uplifting just to everyone as well, and just setting the tone like high for a good weekend, definitely really helped. The divers at Lemoyne were super nice. They were really talented. There was great competition. And even, I just think also as a group, the Binghamton divers, like cohesively, we all dove like really strong. And I'm like so proud of all of us. And yeah, it was a really great weekend.
Do you ever, like when you go up there, because I'm sitting there watching and I love to swim and I feel like I was born in the ocean. I think I was from Atlantis, and I think that's where I was actually born. So Aquaman and I have something in common, but different hair. So when you are going up there and you're in this diving world, people make it look so easy, right? You make it look so easy, but I'm always thinking about the fact of when you're doing this, because a lot of people watch during the Olympics, right? But I want people to watch all year round. That's why, it's important for me to have swimming and diving here on the broadcast and to speak with you and speak with Jerry and other student athletes and whatnot. So there's a few things going through my mind, and it's the technique, right? Because you see somebody, when you're watching the Olympics, someone goes and they do their dive and they have these different things that they do, and people are like, that was incredible, that was amazing, I can't believe that they did that. They did that twice before they hit the water, and here's my score. But when you're going up there, is there a certain dive that you have to, for people that don't know, like, can you go up there and do anything and say like, hey, this is my dive, this is my moment, I can go out and do whatever I want? Or is it, this is the dive we're supposed to do, so I have to show them how I do this dive the best? Because there's that freestyle, right, where you're doing what you want to do, and then there's this is the dive that we're looking for, this is the dive that we're grading, and we need to see this one. So just bring me into the multiplicity, so to speak, of diving.
Yeah, 100%. Diving can be a little bit confusing. So basically, we compete 6 dives. So and then we have the 2 boards. So we have the 3 meter, which is the higher one, the 1 meter, which is the lower. And you do 6 dives on each. And basically, every round or every dive that you do, it's a different category. So you have a front, a back, a reverse, an inward, a twister. And then for your 6th dive, you can double up on any of those categories. So yeah, that's kind of like the foundation. And then when you compete, the judges just look for a really good technique, good entry, little splash, pointed toes, knees straight, not breaking position, a strong hurdle, which is like the approach before you jump off. And you want to make sure that you are a safe distance from the board, not too far, not too close. So there's a lot of elements that go into it. And definitely when competing, there are certain things that I'll keep in mind. But every dive is different for me. So for some dives, I have to really remind myself, okay, make sure you slow down your arms so you stand this dive up and you get good height and you're not far out. And then there's some dives where I'm like, okay, I have to make sure I look up at my entry. So there's so many different components that go into it. But definitely each dive I always have like a different correction for each, you know.
So when you go up and you're in it and you're thinking, like you said, I have to make sure that I do this, I have to make sure I show this. Because it's so fast, once you come off that board, it's lightning quick. So are you thinking it all, or is it kind of just, okay, this is the dive, this is what I have to do, and then once you get up there, you just go completely, like, your thoughts are gone and you're just doing it? And I asked that question because as a basketball player, I would go and I would think about the shot, and I would go to practice and say, okay, this is my technique. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. This is how, I need to get in a rhythm and get comfortable. I need to be consistent. But then when I was in a game, I couldn't think when I shot the ball. I had to just do it. So once you get up there in that split second, are you saying anything to yourself when you're midair, or is that all gone right when you get up to the actual board itself?
Yeah. I mean, if it's something regarding like my start, I definitely do think about that as soon as I leave the board. But then sometimes when I'm in the air, I'm kind of just like, I kind of like will blank out. But then if I know that there is something I need to remember or work on, I usually do remember it during the dive. Like, cause you have to like kind of be, you don't really have the opportunity to like, forget about it, because you're like in the air. Like, it's so hard to explain, but yeah, when I am competing a dive, I usually do have those corrections in my head, but they're not like too overpowering. But it's just something that I always do keep in the back of my mind as I do the dive. But it is, again, it's so fast that you just gotta do the best that you can.
Well, and I saw in the meet too, I mean, there's some dives that are done, you're so close to the board. Do you ever think about that with all the practicing you do and everything that do you ever think like, my goodness, that last one I did, I was way close to the board itself. I mean, do you ever have that thought, or have you ever hit the board? I mean, that's a question too. I mean, have you ever had those moments where you are practicing something and you just get a little bit too close?
Yeah. I always say this. I always say you're not a real diver unless you smack or hurt yourself, because that's just kind of part of our sport. And that's how you get better, and that's how you can apply and fix corrections sometimes. But I've definitely had some tough smacks, and I've like tapped the board a few times, but nothing like too severe. But yeah, it does kind of linger in the back of your mind, but I know that it's not something that I do it's not a common thing for me to like hit the board. Like, it happens to like all of us like once in a blue moon, but we always make sure, and our coaches make sure, that the technique that we do during the dry lands, that when we add it into the water, we make sure we don't make those kinds of mistakes where we are close to the board or smack or have any kind of trouble injuring ourselves. And we'll do a bunch of like drills too before even working up to a dive, just to ensure like that you're comfortable. But yeah, it definitely lingers, but it's not like overpowering, because it's not something that happens super like occurrently.
Well, I would tell you got strong Polish and Boricua blood, so you can handle that world. Lizzy, we're going to play some rapid fire here on Wake Up Call in this Bearcat Break Room. We can ask each other any question, any topic, and there's no preparation for this. I have no idea what Lizzie's going to say. She doesn't know what questions I'm going to ask. You get to ask the first question, and then we'll go back and forth. So what's your first one?
So you say you played basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite NBA team?
I do, and they are right out here. I'll grab the thing here. So this is my favorite team by far, has been since I was a little kid back in 1995. So I have my Toronto Raptors, and their rally cry is "We the North." And so it's funny though, because when people see like my hat, because I have a hat that says "We the North," and I'm like, if people don't know what that means, I just lean in and I say, the North won the Civil War. Is what I normally say to them. But yeah, but we the North. But yeah, so
Awesome.
I am a Raptor fan. My question back to you, Lizzie. If you could swim next to any two people, what two would you want to be in the pool with you if you went back into the world of swimming, since you've done swimming and diving? If you're in the pool and let's say it's your team versus the rest of the world, what two swimmers would you want to be on your team?
Ooh. Wow. I definitely think Michael Phelps. I love him. Such a king.
Okay.
And my second one, I think I don't want to say Katie Ledecky because I feel like everyone knows Katie Ledecky. I'm trying to think of like another swimmer. Yeah, I guess Katie Ledecky because they're both just superhuman. I think they're like robots, and I just want to like be able to like see them like in action, like in person. I think that would be insane.
Yeah, Katie Ledecky, Michael Phelps, and Lizzy Tirado on one team. Awesome stuff here. All right, Lizzie, what's your next question for me?
My next question, if you could go back and play another sport growing up, what would you choose?
Easiest answer in the world. I talk about it all the time. So when I was growing up, it was basketball, football, or baseball. That was what they said to little boys. And those were our three sports. And nobody said lacrosse or soccer to me. Now, being Italian and Hispanic, I joke with people that it's in my blood to be a soccer player. Now, at 5'8", as a basketball player, you're short. As a football, soccer, whatever people want to call it football around the world. But as a soccer player, you're perfect height. And so, I mean, I've coached soccer. I coached it coming out of college, so I got to coach some kids. And I love this sport, and it's such a thank you. And it's such a beautiful thing, and I love it dearly. So I always joke around because my cousin played, and we were out in Pennsylvania, and we were in the road, and she had a soccer ball. And so I took the soccer ball, and I was just like doing stuff, talking to her and not paying attention. She goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Do you play?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, it looks like you do." I was like, what do you mean?" She's like, "Your feet are just like doing things that look like you play soccer." And that was one of the moments that made me step back and think to myself, like, if I'm doing this just without even thinking about it, what would it have been like? So I would have gone back and played soccer because I definitely respect it. I love it. And, 5'8" is a good heighted soccer player. And whenever I played basketball at 5'8" and growing up shorter than that, people gave you you're not tall enough. And it's just a stupid thing to say to somebody. But yeah, I'd probably play soccer.
I love that.
My question back to you, Lizzie, I want to go to food because I know that the Polish have some really good food. And I know that's, the world of Puerto Rican heritage has some amazing food as well. So, and I know it's totally different, but it's very good. So my question to you is, if you could make anything, what would you make in connection with your culture? And then a second part to that question, what is the best thing made in your household by your parents?
Ooh, okay. So for my Polish side, I haven't really had a lot of Polish food per se. So I think the only thing I ever had was like kibasi, I think it was called.
Okay.
But being Puerto Rican and my dad's mom and dad, they live super close to us. So anytime we have like anything like Easter or Thanksgiving or Christmas, I'm like, we need to make like some kind of Spanish dish. I'm like, please, like you guys, like I need it. It's so good because I just having like a home cook like Spanish meal is like the best. I really love tostones. Those are my favorite. I love plantains.
Okay.
Or even like mofongo. I just love plantains and I think they're so good. So that's definitely like my favorite food. And then you said what I would make.
Yeah.
Ah, I think like it could be anything.
Anything.
I have been really into baking recently, so I've been making a lot of banana bread.
Okay.
So that's been my kind of hyper fixation right now. And I add some chocolate chips and I just like go around to all of my roommates and friends. I'm like, here, have a piece, try a piece, tell me if it's good. And they're all like, yes. And I'm like, oh, perfect. I love banana bread. That's like my hyper fixation right now.
I love that you use the word hyperfixation to describe it, and I've now realized that I have to find my way to Binghamton within the next couple months because I need to try this banana bread because my mom
Oh
makes
yeah,
a
I need to make you
mean.
some.
Yeah, please do. But you said plantains, so I would do this when I lived down in Orlando or Kissimmee, Orlando area. So I'm down in Florida, and I was rooming with two guys. And so there was a condo, and one of the guys is Ecuadorian and Uruguayan. And so he would, he brought us to this place called Tu Casa, and we would go get Hispanic food. And you go through the thing, and like for $8, they would fill up this styrofoam thing. It would be like literally coming out the sides of it with all this. My favorite part was the plantains. And so he didn't like his, but I would always play dumb because I didn't want to trade. So he's like, bro, you want these plantains? And I'm like, I mean, they're all right. And he's like, oh, no, if I'll throw them out. I was like, no, don't throw them out. Like, just leave them here. I'll have them. And then he'd walk away. And, that's when you look up to God and you smirk and you're like, now I get two orders of plantains.
That is awesome because I would do something like that too.
Oh, yeah. I play dumb, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I absolutely. And I made them at home. I finally started to make them. So I did them on the top of the stove.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to be ripe. And so you put the plantain on there, and I cut them up and put them up on there. And then I put like some brown sugar and some syrup and just let them sit. And then you can actually, if you put some water there or whatever, you can almost make a sauce. And then you can take those plantains and you can put them on type of ice cream. You can put them kind of wherever you want to put them.
Oh, they're the best. Now I'm thinking about them. Like, they're so good.
I know. I'm saying, Lizzy, we got it. This. I've talked about this before, and I was like, I want people to come through and actually do it. Maybe this is one of the things we get to do. Maybe we do a little plantain, banana bread, Bearcat Breakroom special where we show some
100%.
people some good food.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'll make
I'm so down for that.
Awesome. Well, let's make sure that we make that happen because this is your senior season. I don't want to miss out. So. Final question from you. What do you got for me?
Final question. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Oh, actually, wait. Did I just ask you?
Yes. So I asked you, right?
So final question. Yeah.
Okay. My final question would be. Okay. I'm trying to think. If you can meet one basketball player, no matter who, anyone, who would you choose and why? Or like spend a day in the life with them or just get to meet them.
Well, I waited a long time. I wrote a letter when I was 9 to Damon Stoudemire, Toronto Raptors. And my favorite player, the main reason why they're my favorite team, that and the logo. And I got to meet him. I'm actually next week going to be talking with him for the third year in a row.
Wow.
By the grace of God. So,
oh, that's awesome. Good luck. That's going to be great.
Thank you. So, yeah, waiting. I waited most of my life. And a couple of years ago, it was right around my birthday. I said, because he's at Georgia Tech and I cover the entire ACC, like I'm gonna be able to talk with him. And I got to talk with him, and then I got to do a thing in the TV room, so I got to film his answer to my question. And then I walked outside and I was like, "Hey Damon, just want to let you know, like really appreciate you, been following you for a long time." Shook my hand multiple times, gave me a few hugs. And that was crazy because 9-year-old me is like, I'm hugging my favorite player. Like, this is such a blessing from God. And then we did a show together on air, like the two of us standing on camera together. And yeah. And then the next year, last year, I got to talk with him. And his answer to my question was so long that they ran out of time in the TV room. So it was just me and him.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I would say Damon, but I've had Damon. So I'm going to say, and thank you to God that I do, I'm going to say, and I can't wait for this year. Who would I have on besides Damon? Probably Steph Curry. Probably
yeah.
Steph. Because, I'm a three-point shooter, so I respect it. And I don't know, I felt like people like him that were these, just crazy three-point shooters weren't getting as much opportunity in the NBA. Like Jerry McNamara didn't really get, I think, a fair shake. And so with Steph Curry being out there and doing his thing, I love to just sit with him and talk with him and pick his brain, remind him that my Raptors beat him, So.
Yeah. I really like basketball, and my brother is a basketball player, and my family's super into basketball, so we're Knicks fans. So
Okay.
I've been educating myself more on basketball and watching it more and more, so I really appreciate the sport now. And yeah, that's why I was like, I had all those basketball questions.
Yeah, I love it. And, we'll forgive you for being a Knicks fan. So my last question for you. Okay. If you could go and sit in a luxury box at Madison Square Garden for a Knicks game, what two people would you bring that you know, and what two celebrities would you bring?
Ooh, okay. Two people that I know would definitely be, I think, my dad, because anytime he watches the Knicks game, he just makes me laugh so hard. I think it's hysterical because he like screaming at the TV, and just seeing him in action, I think I would actually like have an asthma attack from laughing. So him, and I guess my mom too. I think I love my mom loves her Knicks, and I think just going with them would be really fun. And then two celebrities, definitely Ben Stiller because he's a huge Knicks fan. And the second one, honestly, Timothy Chalamet, because he's a great actor, and I've loved a lot of the films he's in, and he's also a huge Knicks fan. So having both of them, and then my parents who are also raging Knicks fans, like that dream, like that would be awesome.
And have you been to the Garden?
So I've been for concerts, but I've never been to a Knicks game. But we actually are going in December, and I'm so excited. I'm not sure who they're playing though. I'm not sure.
Well, I'll be there next week for New York Comic Con, covering it for our entertainment show, Superpowered Pop.
Oh, nice.
And I am going to be within just a few minute walk from Madison Square Garden. So yeah, the first and I've been to the Garden for the Big East tournament, for the Walking Dead preview of one of their seasons, and for the NFL draft. So I've actually gotten to see it a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, it's great. I love the Garden. It's the best.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, Lizzy Tirado, a true New Yorker, get back New York City and relax. But Lizzy Tirado here. Big time shout out to Ralph, Holly, and your family. Shout out to your brother as well. What's your brother's first name?
Joey.
So shout out to Joey. And to all those Knicks fans and those people writing in that are Celtics fans that are angry this morning. And, of course, to all my Raptor fans, this Bearcat Breakroom with Lizzy Tirado inside the 2025-26 season. Lizzy, it's been a pleasure, and please understand I am holding you to the banana bread plantain challenge.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It was so great to meet you, and thank you so much for this opportunity to come on here and share my story and get to meet you.
Well, I appreciate the time. And the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for the time you spent this morning. And go out there and have fun, and we'll talk with you soon.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great week.
You too. See you.
Bye.
See you. That coming from Lizzy Tirado here on Wake Up Call with Dan. What a sweet human being. You know what I mean? That's why when this world is like, oh man, we're all doomed. No, we're not. There's good people. And we have so many of them on the show. And that's just God's goodness and God's grace to be able to meet so many wonderful people. What a sweet human being. You know, what a sweet and kind-hearted human. So, Ralph and Holly, you did a good job. And we will take a step aside. We'll come back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli. This has been a Bearcat Breakroom in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. We always appreciate you hanging out with us where sports meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to caninecampground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. There is nothing like GG Cards and Breaks. Their attention to detail and everything that they do, to the fact that they have every NFL, every NBA, and every MLB team with their own box on the back wall for you to access your favorites and find some really awesome just get some great steals, some awesome finds at GG Cards and Breaks. They have everything to protect your cards, different size top loaders and sleeves, binders, one-touch cases, and so much more. You never know what's going to be on the shelf, and you never know how quick it's going to be gone. That's why you got to get your way over to GG Cards and Breaks today. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. open Tuesday through Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 5 on Sundays. We look forward to seeing you over there. Let them know the DT sent you. Many thanks to Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Nothing like going over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt. The Taj Mahal of Chick-fil-A is that giant brick building that you will find with the double drive-through. Big time thanks to Megan Sorber, as she and I spoke about off the air. She was working at Chick-fil-A when she was going to school, and now being in the community by so many high schools and colleges and universities in the central New York area, she is now hiring people that are students going to school and working at Chick-fil-A. So what better way to learn how to balance being a student and working at Chick-fil-A than learning from someone who did the exact same thing and walked a similar path? Head over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge and Erie and see that it's so much more than a chicken sandwich today. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, proud to be with you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And it is now time on Wake Up Call to get into our segment that rounds out every Tuesday broadcast. And that is the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. The Ingredients to Success presented by Avicolli's. Avicolli's is on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. They're literally right down the street from Liverpool High School, and it's where we have all of our Liverpool broadcasts on site, on location. We were just there twice in these last couple weeks, featuring Liverpool boys soccer, as well as most recently Liverpool football. You could come out and see our shows on site, on location at Avicolli's every single month, and you can find out when we're going to be there and who we're featuring by following us on social media at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on X, and at Wake Up Call _DT on Instagram. And we appreciate y'all for your support and your love over the years. Can't thank you enough for that. So with that being said, the ingredients to success from the wonderful team at Avicolli's, and by the way, I've eaten at Avicolli's 3 times in the past week. Brought my dad. My dad and I went, my mom and I went, and I ate at the event with Liverpool football. So shout out to Avicolli's for feeding us well. And actually, no, I went 4 times because I went yesterday and got 2 pieces of one of those slices that you see on your screen right now, which is their margarita pizza, which was fantastic, and their fresh Parmesan. Oh my goodness, so very good. Head out to Avicolli's today and know that I put my money where my mouth is. Like I said, 4 times in this past week. Can't get enough, or past couple weeks, can't get enough of Avicolli's. Head out there today. Let them know the DT sent you. Thanks to John Frado and the whole team, and of course the Avicolli family. Today's topic for the ingredients to success: conversations with differing views. How do we have them? How do you have a conversation with someone who doesn't agree with you? Man, isn't that today's America's one of their biggest burning questions? How do you have a conversation with someone who doesn't agree with you? Well, you got to be open-minded. That's an ingredient to success. You have to be willing to work together, right? Got to be open-minded when someone has a differing view. Willing to work together, right? You know how we complain that Congress just looks like a bunch of people screaming at each other, and they've been fighting for so long they don't even know what they're fighting about, and they'll disagree with each other even if it's something that most people should agree with. That if one party says there's a kid on the train tracks, we should save the kid, the other party will say no, let the kid die, just because they can't agree with each other, even though it's a very easy answer that you have to save anybody who's trapped on a train track. You know, we joke about that all the time, but then in our lives, we're the same way. In our lives, we mirror Congress. In our lives, we mirror that I will disagree with you for the sake of disagreeing with you because I have to. You know, I've had multiple conversations with people where I actually agree with their viewpoint, and they'll continue to go. They'll continue to fight. They'll continue to give you an attitude. And I've literally stopped a conversation and said, I literally agreed with you. Like, I'm agreeing with you. You're talking over me. You're talking loudly, and you're talking angrily, and I actually agree with you. But see, you're not listening, and you're so into the fight and wanting to fight that you can't even hear the fact that the person that you're fighting with is actually somebody who's agreeing with you. So, how do we have conversations with differing views? Open-mindedness, the willingness to learn, the willingness to work together. This is all part of it. We have to be willing to know that we're not always right. To know that we don't have all the answers. To know that we may feel strongly about something, but there may be something about that subject that we don't know yet. You know, there's something that I feel strongly about. And I was talking to somebody yesterday who I consider a friend. And she told me her experience. And then I thought to myself, wow, maybe this person's not 100% right. Not speaking about her, speaking about the person that I was like, oh no, I agree with that. Maybe this person's not 100% right. Maybe they're doing a good thing over here, but it's affecting this thing over here. And so we can't just blanket say that they're doing a great job at this, because there's actually some areas that do seem confusing and unfortunate and not fair. So I learned something yesterday because I was willing to hear somebody else out. I was willing to get another person's perspective instead of just simply saying, no, I'm right all the time. And there's people in today's world, and I don't associate with these people, but when I come across these people, you kind of learn pretty easily from one conversation, the people that think that they're always right. And I would caution those people. I would caution those people because you can't be right about everything. You don't have all the information, right? Nobody knows everything about everything at all times. You might know some things. You might be well versed in something, but you may not know everything. I had a conversation yesterday with Murph, and we were talking about certain things, and neither one of us had been to these 2 stadiums. So my argument was, how can either one of us speak about the atmosphere and which atmosphere is better than the other when we haven't been there? I can't speak on it any more than you can. Have you been to these places? No. Well, what I see on television. Okay. what you see on television, what if the microphone is by the student section and they have a better student section than the other student section, so it sounds like the stadium's louder, but in actuality, it's just where the microphone is set up? What if the acoustics on this channel are better than the acoustics on this channel? What if your TV, that you're watching this game on, that you just bought, and the game that you watched this other team play on 3 years ago, what if your TV's sound is better on the new TV than it was on the old one, and you're associating it with the two other stadiums? I mean, you don't know unless you've been there. I didn't know what Penn State was until I've been there. And I will tell you this right now, going to Beaver Stadium, going to Penn State and Happy Valley, I can tell you flat out, that is a crazy atmosphere. It is an amazing atmosphere. I have so much respect for the Penn State Nittany Lion fans and just Beaver Stadium and that whole experience because I've physically been there. But I can't speak to places I haven't been. I can talk about things that I can look at and study, like the rankings and different conferences and how they're ranked and what's fair and what's unfair, and these teams don't get a quality win, but this team gets a quality loss. I can speak to all that stuff and be well versed in it if I do my homework and I study it and I look at the facts, but I can't speak to something I don't know. And so I think that, or I can attempt to have an opinion on it, but then clearly tell you I don't know. Because sometimes I don't know. And I don't know how to fly a plane. I'd love to learn, but I don't know how to fly it. And if I told you I knew how to fly it, and then you said, okay, then, fly me off to California, Dan, you can, here's the access to my plane, and I need you to fly me over to California. Well, I don't know how to fly this plane. I just lied to this person, and now there's a 50-50 shot that I'm going to be able to figure it out, or that I'm not going to be able to figure it out, right? So tell the truth. Be honest. We don't know everything about everything. Nobody does. Nobody knows everything about everything. And here's the craziness, and I posted this yesterday. I said it's ironic that we are living in a time where there is so much information, and it's never been more accessible, yet ignorance is at an all-time high. Isn't that insane? We are living in a time where we have more access to information than arguably we've ever had. Yet people seemingly are getting more and more ignorant. People are knowing less and less and making opinions about something without studying it, when you now have the opportunity to study it easier than you ever did before. Back in the day, you had to go to the library. Now you could just go to your phone, type it in. I typed into my phone trying to understand. I had an x-ray done, and I didn't understand what it meant. I literally copied and pasted the synopsis of my x-ray, the findings, and put it into Google, and Google broke down every single part of it and what each part of it meant and helped me to understand it more. Now, I don't know how accurate it is. I'd have to ask a doctor, but it at least allowed me to know information that I didn't know, because I don't understand doctor speak, right? And I wanted to learn. We are at a time right now in life, and I couldn't do that 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I couldn't do that when I was a kid. Copy and paste what a doctor sent me and then send it out to Google or any search engine and say, what does this mean? Right? We are living in a time where we can easily get to information, yet we are growingly, increasingly more and more ignorant. And there's no excuse for it. There was no excuse back then. There's definitely no excuse now, because you have access to the information. So when you have a conversation with differing views, which I've had plenty of these conversations, I learned something. Now, where I don't enjoy the conversation is where I bring up points and, I feel like I have my facts and my basis and my stuff behind it. And the person that I'm talking to takes nothing from that, but I take a lot from them. I want to learn when I have a conversation with somebody, but I want to be in conversations with people that also want to learn. I don't want to be in a conversation with somebody that's screaming at me, telling me how stupid I am. And because I'm not going to sit around for that conversation. I'm not going to listen. I'm absolutely not going to listen to someone who does not respect me. And so that's another part of conversations with differing views. You have to speak with kindness and goodness and treat people the way you want to be treated. Be willing to learn, be open-minded, listen. There's no excuse for ignorance because you can look it up. If somebody tells you something and you don't know if it's true or not, you can look it up. You can look it up. So look it up, right? We have to learn how to sit down and disagree and be okay with it. There are families that don't talk to each other anymore. I just had somebody tell me recently that this one guy stopped talking to his children because they politically don't agree with each other. You got people not talking to their parents, not talking to their kids, not talking to their aunts and their uncles and their cousins. You got people that might break up over it. Think about that. Think about that. Democrats and Republicans are the source of people breaking up romantically, not being friends, and not seeing their family on Thanksgiving. So in my opinion, the government's winning. Because if they can break you up, if they can take a loving, caring relationship, like I just said recently, I was upset that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I appreciated that he spoke about God and that he defended something that I believe in. And because Charlie Kirk has had an opinion on 1,000,001 things, someone judged me off of being upset about him dying. The entire thing that I wrote was about God, was about sticking up for God, was about people not being assassinated no matter what, because we don't have the right to play God, and that killing somebody else is murder and it's wrong, even if you don't agree with them. And I put in the actual the actual post that I put out there, I put in the post that if people have differing views than me, I would never do this. Like, I don't think it's right to do that. So my post was about God being a good human, not supporting murder, not supporting an assassination, being okay with people that have different views than I do, and thanking Charlie for sticking up for God, even when he got screamed at, disrespected, and people wanted to kick him out of places. He was defending free speech, and he got shot for it, and he died. And I had someone text me that called themselves my friend and told me to never speak to them again. Because if that's how I feel about life, I'm anti-murder, anti-assassination, pro-God, and I think that if someone differs in views than me, nobody has the right to kill that person, me or you included. And because I wrote that, we can never be friends again. Because you think of that person a different way. But look at what I wrote. Look at what I wrote and what I said and what I stand for. And he died for what he believed in, did he not? He died standing up for what mattered to him and what he believed in, being a voice to people that were afraid to speak. He died for that. Martin Luther King Jr. died for that. Abraham Lincoln died for what he believed was the right thing to do. John F. Kennedy died because somebody wanted to take him out for what he thought he was doing was right or what he had chosen to do. There's been people throughout history that have been killed standing up for what they believe is right. And if we start shooting, stabbing, or in any way, shape, or form, killing people, maiming people, or hurting people because they don't agree with us, what type of society do we wish to live in? Hunger Games? Anarchy? Is that what you want? But I lost friends because I said that, and literally put in there, I am not for hurting anyone who doesn't agree with me. Like, whether you agree with me or not, I would never want to hurt somebody. And the person that told me to never speak to them again, a quote-unquote man of God, a quote-unquote somebody who believes in God, a quote-unquote God loves us all, a quote-unquote God forgives us all, a quote-unquote Jesus is my savior. If Jesus was your savior, why would you be mad at a human being for saying that they were against the murder of somebody? You know, this country can disagree on a lot of things, but whether you agree with Charlie Kirk or disagree with Charlie Kirk, he was assassinated. We should all, 100,000% of us, should believe that that's wrong. We shouldn't be like, well, he was assassinated, but I don't agree with him, so good on assassination. But if you assassinate somebody I like, then it's a sin. That's not how God doesn't say. When God had the 10 Commandments, he said, thou shalt not kill. He didn't say, thou shalt not kill, semicolon, unless it's someone you don't like. He didn't say, thou shalt not commit adultery unless you think that girl's real hot. He didn't say, thou shalt not steal unless you're hungry. God was very clear on what he said. And the fact that we live in a society right now in America that talks about being free, and we're so proud to be free, and we're not like other countries because we're free, and we have freedom, and freedom, freedom, and free, and we keep saying the words, but we're not living the action. We are so hell-bent on people coming to our side and hating the other side that we don't even listen to each other. I mean, I was at an event recently where I answered a question, and I don't even think the guy listened to me because his response to what I said was not what I said. And then I had to correct him very nicely and go, yeah, that is not the road that I took. I took a different road. Like you just painted a picture that was the antithesis of what I said. You made it sound like I was in this situation, but in actuality, I was in this situation. You made it sound like I was in a situation out of my control, when in actuality, I was in a situation where I had full control. And I had to correct that because he wasn't listening. You know, we either listen to speak or we listen to hear. When you listen to speak, that means that when someone's talking, you're saying, okay, I'm just hearing wah, 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 until I don't hear it, so then I can speak. Right? Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Oh, my turn. My turn to talk. As opposed to, I hear you, I'm working to understand you, and I want to know. I love having conversations with people that are differing than me when I can sit there and I can feel comfortable and I can feel myself and I can feel respected by the other person, because you're going to get that from me. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hear you out. And if I don't, I'm going to check myself, because if I want it, then I got to give it. And I love interacting with people and learning from people. I love that. And we've kind of lost that in society in America. We've lost the learning from each other because we don't want to listen to anybody who's different. Right? There's all these things that people stop being friends over, stop dating over. I mean, there are women, when I was on dating apps, because dating apps are atrocious. And no offense to the companies that run them, they're just awful. They're not fun. And I've met a similar type of person on any one of them. Very selfish, very one-sided, very manipulative people that are on these dating apps, and they're horrible at communicating. And not that everybody is, but when almost 100% of what I've dealt with is that's the experience I have. Now I know people that have met on dating apps, and I have friends that have married off of dating apps, and I love that. And the 1 in a billions, I know like 3 or 4 of them. But, I mean, I'll go on a dating app, and this woman will talk about her politics. I'm like, bro, no. You know, if you supported this, then swipe left. If you vote for this, swipe left. If you don't care about this, swipe left. If you believe in this, and it's like, dude, just stop. Okay? When you politicize dating, you make men like me and men and women around this world just want to not date anybody. We just want to, because we don't want to deal with it. Like, we're going to go on a date and talk about who did you vote for? Like, that's how some of these people are. It's sick. And you know what the thing is we're ruining relationships in family, romantically, and friendships and business relationships. We're ruining these neighbors, strangers. We're ruining relationships with people off of people we don't know and will never meet. Most of you will never meet Kamala Harris. Most of you will never meet Donald Trump. Most of you will never meet Nancy Pelosi. Most of you, New York will never meet Kathy Hochul. You'll never meet these people. But you're going to hate the people that you love off of it. Isn't that insane? and just like outrageously stupid. But that's the society that we've chosen to create now, and we've accepted as normalcy, that we should live in the society where we don't listen to each other, and we literally will hate each other and ruin relationships over people that we don't know. What happens if you met Kamala Harris and you supported her, and then after you met her and spent an hour with her, you're like, oh my goodness, this woman is not who I thought she was, and now you've ruined all your relationships over her? What if you sat down with Donald Trump and thought to yourself, man, I can't believe that I defended this guy in X, Y, and Z, and I lost, my girlfriend, my two best friends, and my mom over this thing, and now I'm sitting here talking to him, and I heard him wrong, and I thought he meant this, he actually meant this, and I don't agree with that. How are you ending valuable relationships in your life over things that you will never truly know and people that you'll never meet? It's just wild to me. We have to learn how to have conversations with differing views. We have to learn to be okay in talking with people that don't agree with us. And it comes with being open-minded, listening to hear and not to speak, understanding you're not always right, knowing that you can't gain knowledge and wisdom if you think you already have it all because your door's shut, and just being okay with the fact that you might be all the way on one side of something, but maybe you come a little bit closer, right? Or maybe, just don't be ignorant. It's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to learn. What it's not okay to do is be ignorant and pretend like you don't know the truth when you do know it. What's not okay is when you take an opinion and you stay steadfast in that opinion even when you know you're wrong. Just because you don't want to be wrong. Some people, it's like, do you really believe in what you're saying, or do you just do it because you're at a point where you don't want to be wrong? I feel like people have been fighting for so long, they don't even know what they're fighting about anymore. Because you'll talk to people about stuff and some people can't even tell you why they're mad or why they believe in that person or why they believe in that movement. They can't even tell you why. And they get mad when you ask. And somebody got shot in the neck for asking. And the fact that any human being can be okay with that, if you can be okay with murder, I will pray for your soul. I do not want to associate with those people. Because whether Charlie Kirk agrees with me or Charlie Kirk disagrees with me, I'm never going to wish death upon a person. That is a dangerous slope, and that is a demonic thing to do. When you dance on the grave of a dead person, that is all Satan, no Jesus. And I promise you that. There's no God in that. And we need to do better. Thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. And a big time shout out to Avicolli's, and thanks to Avicolli's for being a wonderful place in our community, a place where we break bread together, and a place where I hope that people of differing views can break bread and sit down and get to know each other, because we're better off when we learn more information, and cutting people out of your lives because they think differently than you. If they're not hurting anybody and you're not hurting anybody, it's okay to sit and talk with people that may not be the same as you in every single thing, because we're not always right. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel, DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, 2 locations, Cazenovia and Syracuse Inner Harbor, as well as Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Game Point Sports Complex, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Canine Campground, Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, Mother's Cupboard, Avicolli's, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcats are with us every single month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz. You can check out the Bobcat Buzz by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are here. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni all throughout the year. And you can find them on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab for more information. Go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining us throughout the years. And, of course, today on Wake Up Call, we had the opportunity to welcome Lizzy Tirado of the Binghamton women's diving team. You can stay close with all of our conversations with Binghamton by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Lasers in the Laser Lounge every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The next Wednesday that it's up is the first Wednesday and first day of October. This Wednesday, October 1st at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll be featuring the Laser Lounge once again. You can find all of our content with OCC by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. The Lasers are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, many thanks to our incredible guest, LeQuint Allen Jr. of Syracuse history, and of course the rookie on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and so excited for him. Happy to see him in Jaguar teal, wearing number 36, and thank you to LeQuint for being a part of the show. Many thanks to you, and God bless you, and thank you to Emily for helping to make that possible. And for the Binghamton Bearcats, I want to give a very special thanks to Lizzy Tirado and everybody working behind the scenes, John Hartrick, David O'Brien, and the entire staff over at Binghamton University. And of course, many thanks to Avicolli's with our topic, Conversations with Differing Views. Go have a conversation with somebody that you love over at Avicolli's today on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, and make sure you let them know that DT sent you. Have a wonderful day, and of course, as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Be yourself, be open, be honest, and always be kind.